I'm glad to have you again today, and I'm sure you're having an excellent day. Today, we're talking about fine tuning and virtuous prompt engineering. So, you're trying to look at the difference between them, what they are, and how you can understand AI better. So, it's all about optimizing AI performance and knowing, what the concept is and how to use it. So, we're looking at the difference between training the model and crafting an input. So, fine-tuning is more like training the model, whereas prompt engineering is crafting an input. You're prompting the experts. So we are seeing AI as an expert now because it has been trained on different fields, multiple fields, millions and billions of data across various subjects. AI is considered an expert. So prompt engineering, we are looking at how we can be able to fetch updated, relevant, and accurate answer from an expert. So because it's not just about how much the expert knows, but how much you can draw from the expert. Now, but we are looking at fine tuning as training a model for a specific use case or specific course. So with that, fine tuning is clearly how a model is customized, whereas prompt engineering talks about communicating with the model. So when you say customize, now for example, the expert now, AI, is trained in several fields. It's trained in several fields. Now the question now is, how can we customize it to our specific need? Like, it's trained in crafting emails, trained in fields like coding, trained in fields like social media, different aspects, history, you know every aspect. Now, if I need maybe I need to know about coding, for example, why can't I fine tune the model for only coding? So this is so we are taking a whole model and we are doing specially train it for a specific use case, that is for coding. So this model, if you ask it anything about history, it's not gonna know it. If you ask it anything about any other subject, is not going to know it. But about this subject you are fine tuning on, it will know it. That is how so many companies are being built on AI models, LLMs today. So LLMs are talking about large language models. Most of these companies, all they do is they fine tune a particular model for their own specific use case. So they train the model for their specific use case. So we have companies that are being built, startups that are being built that they call them AI wrappers. So they wrap themselves around the LLM for a specific use case. Now, so when we talk about fine tuning, like I said, this is a process of further training a pre-trained LLM on a smaller task specific data set. So large language model has been trained already and with so much of data. Now we are now retraining it on a specific data set. What's the data set? We can take, for example, GitHub. GitHub is a data set for coding. You know, um, maybe for design now you can have other data set that you can have for communities for design and others. So you can train it on that data set so that it's specifically very intelligent in that aspect. So when you see startups like Lovable, Base 44, all of these startups are being built around fine-tuning the model to this specific use case so that anything that has to do with this subject, it is excellent in it. So we are adjusting model behavior, a tone, and a domain knowledge. That's the one key point. And it requires label data and compute power. So it happens during model development stage. Example of fine-tuning, we have training a general LLM on legal documents. So it will become a legal assistant model. Feeding it with customer support chats like specialized chatbot. Use a poet work and for creative writing in that style. So it's all about teaching the student new expertise permanently. That's how it works. Whereas prompt engineering is more of you crafting prompt to a fixed LLM to give a desired output. So With prompt engineering, we have things like we're assigning the specific role, we are giving the specific tone, instructions. Then you use chain of thought prompting to be able to align the thought process of the LLM. And then you also have things like context injection, and also we have RAG, retrieval augmented generation. So example of prompt engineering is when you ask instruct ChatGPT or GPT, any GPT, to write an article for you with a title, a section layer. You control the kind of response you want. You give it step-by-step explanation. You provide format, provide example. Then it's more like giving a smart student precise task instruction. This is what to do. Then you could also have guardrails. Don't do this, don't do this. Just stay around this context. So because context helps LLMs to be able to work more accurately and avoid hallucinations. So you ask him to stay around this context, and then it's able to give you a more precise answer. In terms of comparison, we look at the difference between fine tuning and prompt engineering. So the one of the first thing we look at is in terms of the feature, the internal modifies the model's internal behavior is modified under fine tuning. This one, prompt engineering, is just about the prompt and instruction you give to it only. So fine tuning happens when it happens during training, whereas this is during your usage or your inference. In terms of cost, high compute data ML expertise is needed for cost. Then this is just for prompt engineering is low, more of creativity and iteration. For scope, you have the fine tuning is making model domain specific. Like I said earlier, you are fine tuning for a specific domain. So it can be an expert in, rather than being a generalist, like an LLM, a generalist, you're fine tuning to be an expert in law, for example. That's a legal LLM. So you give it a whole lot of legal documents, and it's retrained on those legal documents, so it's be able to understand and catch the scope of what you're talking about. Same thing when you talk about prompt engineering now. Prompt engineering is more like you are defining the output you want. You have a goal, you have something in your mind you want to achieve. So you want to craft a prompt that gives you a desired response. So when you don't see what you're expecting, you actually reformat it and you fine tune it in a way that's able to give you that response. Now, that of longevity, the fine tuning is permanent customization, but from here is just temporal. The output is just per prompt. So in terms of working together, yes, how do they work together? Fine tuning reduces need for complex prompts because with fine tuning, it understands the context of all you're talking about. So once you type in, it's ready to just give you a full context. You don't need to really be giving it more and more prompt again for you to understand. Yeah, prompt engineering informs effective fine tuning also. So you see that it's actually correlated. And in practice, you have to combine both for more better results. So you have fine tune support model plus prompt. Example, you are a kind support agent. Please explain to me step by step how to reset the password. As simple as that. So the key takeaways are just the fact that fine tuning is teaching the AI new knowledge permanently. Prompt engineering is giving clear instructions at that particular moment. So both optimize AI performance at different life cycle stages. Fine tuning is, when the domain is narrow and repeated, fine tuning is very good. But when the is a general purpose, then we have prompted. So you need to now decide which one will you eventually go for based on your use case. Are you gonna go for fine tuning, or you go for the general LLM? So it's all about your own use case. What exactly do you want to achieve? Um, if it's for a specific course, you want to, like a customer service chatbot can be fine tuned where it only understands your home database to understand is if you give it all of your basic information, your database and all of these things, and you train it on it so that it's an expert in answering any question that anybody gives you based on the training you're getting on the database. So it's not just like a generalist that's trying to just go around the web and all of that. So this is the explanation on fine tuning and prompt engineering, and I believe you've been able to have some key takeaways from it. So thank you for joining this class.